Robbie Ray getting ready for Yordan Alvarez, and that moment has arrived. Seawald will exit just 4 career relief appearances. What a time to bring on Robbie Ray. Jeremy Pena has set the stage here for Yordan Alvarez, one of the most feared hitters in the game.
Representing the winning run for the Astros, and Alvarez belts it deep to right field. Instant goodbye! Unbelievable! The Astros a walk-off win! Yordan Alvarez, a walk-off 3-run homer! And the Astros stun the Mariners in Game 1 of the Division Series! Incredible! The house of...
Yordan Alvarez right there with a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Astros beat the Mariners 5-7, coming from behind to do so. This is interesting to see. A Wednesday show, some controversial Wednesday for you. It's been a while. MLB playoffs yesterday, division series started, and the Mariners, let's see if I can do some math, we're leading 7-1. Heading into the 8th inning, the Astros got 2 in the 8th, 3 in the 9th, and walk it off to win 8-7. We'll see if this is the end of the good juju for the Mariners elsewhere in baseball. Good games all around. The Phillies were up 7-1. They end up winning 7-6. The Yankees win 4-1, and the Dodgers beat the Padres 5-3 or something. Doesn't really matter. All of the home teams won except the Phillies beat the Braves. There are some videos on Instagram and TikTok of Phillies fans getting into Braves fans' faces. Apparently it was as low as $8 to go to the game yesterday, which I'll be honest, that's something. They built that new stadium, whatever it's called, Truist or Coca-Cola, whatever Southern big business sponsored it, but it's in the burbs in Atlanta. It's not like in downtown Atlanta, so like it's like school kids and shit. There are a bunch of corporate headquarters in Atlanta. It's one of them. It's a global headquarter of commerce. It's not like Paris or New York or Hong Kong, but it's a huge, important mecca. And $8 and it's a baseball. Georgia's a baseball state. That's crazy to me. Unbelievable. So we'll get to some stuff real quick. The first thing we want to get to is checking on the Davante Adams thing. So there was a protester that ran on the field. It was San Francisco and L.A. That guy got absolutely fucked up by Bobby Wagner. You remember? We reported on that. I reported on that, which, man, I just told you. The Mannings talked about it. Bobby Wagner obliterated him, but it wasn't that bad. Apparently, that guy is claiming that he got a concussion, is suing the NFL, which seems very much like a publicity stunt, and I can't imagine the countersuit. Suing the NFL is a move that you got to have. I mean, they have to have screwed you. Otherwise, I worked for the NFL, and there's a day where they sit you down and tell you what it's like to screw the NFL. So just make sure if you're going to sue them, you have your shit together. Conversely, the cameraman who was doing his job for, I don't know who he worked for, I haven't looked into it, doesn't really matter, in my opinion. This guy doing his job that got pushed by Davante Adams. So there is another angle, by the way, and the other angle, I guess I'll show it to you now. Let's do it. It's worse. He kind of seems to go out of his way more. So there he is. Walking, and just that's the push right there, watching it. He just shoves this dude down. He basically said this guy ran in my way, which he did. It's bro, and the guy should watch where he's going and shit, but also dude, he shoved him down. He didn't need to, you stop, or you can I would just grab him kind of and make sure I don't want to run into you. Oh, okay, we're good, no collision, but he shoves this dude. He sees this dude, he's like, fuck this guy. That guy filed a police report. Which seems a little soft, unless you're pissed. You shouldn't get shoved at work. You shouldn't get fucking shoved at work. So I don't know what to make of all of this. He's claiming that he was injured and had to go to the hospital. I'm sure that Mike Flory and other people will be reporting on this. Former and current teammates of Davante Adams are calling this stupid. Which, I mean, the NFL. If that guy works for one of the TV networks and he had to go to the hospital, it's gonna be fucking. He's gonna go. It'll be at least a game. If it were me, I'd be like, I will. If it's not 4 or 5 games, I'm gonna sue the shit out of you. And get shoved by a pro athlete doing a job. Being a cameraman sucks, dude. It's hard work. You watch him. The reason he fell is he's carrying all that shit. All right, controversial Wednesday. We got some controversies for you. This episode, World Cup. Okay, World Cup is set to begin sometime around Christmas because America has nothing going on. The rest of the world doesn't give a shit about us, dude. Yeah, they don't care. So the World Cup is set to start in Qatar, and like when it was in Brazil, and probably like when it was in Russia, many thousands of migrant workers have died in the construction. Now, for context, the United States reports and experiences somewhere between 3,500 and 5,000 workplace deaths per year. The United States is also the third most populated country in the world, behind, of course, China and India. I think it goes China, India, U.S., and then maybe like Indonesia. 200 million people in Indonesia, about 350, 60 million people in the U.S., give or take. The U.S. is also one of the safest countries in the world. Like, there's always going to be countries that are safer. I'm sure that Norway is safer, but very safe country. Since 2011, when Qatar it was announced that they were getting the World Cup, the reported number of migrant deaths is 6,700. Including like children as young as like 7, I think. But those guys haven't been reported. Those are rumors. And these numbers are coming from Bangladesh, India, and Pakistan has reported a bunch of migrant workers that have been killed as well. So we're going to pay attention to that. Nothing will come of this. Like, slavery seems to be kind of chill in parts of the Middle East. Not in my opinion, but in their opinion. So we're paying attention to this. There's a reporter for the United Kingdom, Daily Mail, I don't really know. His name is Ian Hebert, which is French, en français. There he is. He has this Twitter thread. I guess I'll make the Twitter window just a little bigger for y'all for this moment right here. You can watch this show on Spotify. He has this Twitter thread going through what the World Cup is looking like, and it's kind of interesting. So this tweet I found to be the most interesting. It's Doha, which is Qatar. It doesn't mean Qatar, it's the city in Qatar. It has all of these big posters. You can see Harry Kane right there on the building, and it's really amazing, and that's really cool. So now he's going to go into like the infrastructure. If we scroll down, it's like this reminds one of Firefest. These are allegedly fan cabins. So as he tweeted this, it was September 20 in the year of our Lord, which is about, 20 days ago or so? As we record this, I'm not 100% sure how much progress they will have made in 20 days, but this looks, I mean, it's not a Firefest in that, like, if this had been a Firefest, people probably would have been incredibly grateful. But it doesn't look great. And there are for sure parts of, like, hotels and, like, art and stuff that is for sure not going to be finished. This looks weird. I don't know how comfortable you'd be staying there at these fan cabins in Qatar. We scroll down and we see these are, like, these big tent villas. Like, and this is where, again, it looks like Firefest. Like, look at this villa right here, and it looks, it's not finished. Like, again, this is 20 days ago. You have, like, off the top of my head, like 60 days to the World Cup really needs to start. People are going to start going there soon. They're planning big events for fans to go to. So this is the exact quote. Organizers are planning major events or activations, big Glastonbury-type events with fire-breathing spider being shipped in, suggestions of alcohol. So the alcohol thing is part of this as well. So if we scroll down here, there are going to be fan zones where alcohol will be served between 6:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. every day. So let's see what this says. Decision made to keep that a non-alcohol environment during the 2 early games each day. Most attractive congregating site, the waterfront, Cochrane, last-minute efforts to prepare. So they're making this fan zone where you can drink between 6:30 p.m. and 1 a.m. each day. And, like, I do think that part of sometimes when Westerners interact with the Middle East, it kind of points out just, like, how fucking alcoholic we are. But also, like, that sucks. It's just super expensive to go there. Do you want a day beer? I think, and then part of this is, to me, very clearly that Qatar is scared of all of the fans coming there and kind of exposing how fucking crazy it is. And they should be, because if you're wealthy enough, for the most part, one would assume if you're wealthy enough to go to Qatar for the World Cup, especially from far places away. I mean, the United Kingdom is pretty far away. If you're there from the States or like China or something, and you have the backing of your government, and Qatar does something shitty to you, that would be bad for them. And we know that, like, fornicating and having having any sort of sexual experience with anybody at the tournament is strictly forbidden, and apparently they're going to check to make sure you're married. Like, they don't want people boning. You can get arrested, apparently. So I would just suggest having a pocket full of fake wedding rings. That's what I would do. Or something. I don't know. Lie, duh, if you meet somebody. Because these events are just filled with sex and drinking. The Olympics, remember all the athletes, they just get condoms. They get literal free condoms and a bunch of other stuff. So it looks like this is going to suck, to be honest. Another thing that's interesting, still on Twitter. So I found this interesting. Big investment in CCTV in all stadiums with cameras at all venues monitored from one central control room. This is the first time there's like a casino-style control room at a sporting event. And it seems creepy for sure. And like you would like other governments who are helping out with this to be like, hey, can we get access to this before you erase when something shitty happens? Because people do that. But there have been incidences. Remember, there was a crush in the Champions League final in Paris, and that's what he talks about right here. The chaos last spring in Paris before the Champions League final. We talked about that on this show. People running in and going crazy and running to seats and stuff. And so what they're trying to do is be able to really punish people who do that kind of shit, which is good. And if they have the money, I don't usually know how I feel about this, but there should not be a corner of a stadium in the United States that's not recorded in perpetuity, especially during events. Like, why would you not do that? So they have the money to do that, and I'm on board with this. But this World Cup thing, and when it comes to the migrant worker deaths, I mean, obviously, they're being kind of like worked to death. It seems like there have been a number of deaths, a couple dozen, that were reported as just like non-work related events, which nobody knows what that means. It seems to mean just like passing out on the job, maybe not falling. I don't know, but people are dying. I mean, again, a lot of people die in the United States every year at the workplace, falls, injuries, whatever. But do they die as a result of the work? Because it seems like these guys are dying as a result of the work. This kind of thing, and you talk about labor unions here or there. It's something topic that gets people in trouble. I am not a big fan in 2022, but I am a big fan of labor unions in America's history. And this is why they exist, this exact thing. So we're going to pay attention to this. I suspect very strongly that people are going to talk shit on it, and then they're going to go there and nothing will matter. And then afterwards, they're going to talk shit on it. But it will have happened. I don't think Qatar's economy will benefit from this in any way. It's just going to be the people in charge, which I think they have a monarchy. I do have fun facts about Qatar. This is a Google rabbit hole if you want to go down. Maybe we'll do an episode about this on my sister podcast. Qatar outsources college, but they don't outsource it. They insource it. Insourcing was something I learned about, or a phrase I kind of learned about from a movie, a Will Ferrell movie, which was meant to make fun of the Koch brothers, and it has Zach Galifianakis in it. It was kind of when Will Ferrell jumped the shark, all those Will Ferrell movies. And these guys, Dan Aykroyd and maybe Chevy Chase or somebody, were playing the Koch brothers insourcing like factories. So instead of outsourcing factories, they would just have China like own a piece of land, and then they would have China laws and whatever. But what Qatar has done, for real, this is a real thing, because they can't create universities in Qatar that people give a shit about, instead of attempting to, they bring American universities there. Like here, I'll show you. Texas A&M, Qatar. There it is. Texas A&M University of Qatar. It exists, and it's on this street. And if we look at the Google Maps, this is bananas, right? I know that there are others. I'm just kind of freeballing right now, freewheeling, I guess, the Doha place. So in Doha, there's the Texas A&M University of Qatar. There are a bunch of places. I know for sure Cornell is there. It's crazy. People are going to learn about that. They're going to learn about Texas A&M Qatar. And be like, what are you doing? Well, anything for money, actually. anything for money. That's good old US of A, the most predictable shit literally ever. Controversial Wednesday. One more thing I want to get to. Brett Favre, we've been covering this story. Brett Favre has fired back at the media, saying, and I quote, ask me what media outlet or platform he said this on. I have been unjustly smeared in the media. I have done nothing wrong, and it is time to set the record straight. No one ever told me. I did not know the funds designated for welfare recipients were going to the university or me. I tried to help my alma mater, a public Mississippi State University, raise funds for a wellness center, volleyball court. My goal was and always will be to improve the athletic facilities at my university. Hey, Mike, the reason that we have editors at blogs is so they can put an end quote right there. Pro Football Talk famously doesn't really do editing. They just hit publish, which is, it is what it is. Oh, Mikey. Big fan, Mike. Big fan. Got more baseball coming up today. The AL, the American League, which is not a real thing, is taking the day off. So the National League is the only one playing ball. I believe the Phillies, let's find out when the Phillies will play. Why would you? Yeah, they suck. The Phillies play at 4:35. MLB is why does your Google not work? It's crazy. So the Phillies will be the first game of the day, 4:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to play Game 2 against the Atlanta Braves. Thursday Night Football preview and gambling and all that coming up tomorrow. See you then.